Pete, we're coming to you first with Morgan Stanley.
Yep, Morgan Stanley's the name. You know, the interesting thing is this is a stock that actually got downgraded today. You talked about that. We talked about that in terms of some of the financials, price targets lowered and all the rest of it. What's been really interesting, though, Scott, has been a lot of these names that have been absolutely slammed to the downside. This is clearly one of them. But you look at something going, Friday we had Facebook. Huge call buying in Facebook. A couple days later, they announced the $9 billion buyback. And then a couple days later, look at the stock now from 139, 144. Same thing with Apple just on Monday. Morgan Stanley, maybe it's its turn as well, because we're seeing very short-term buyers. The January expiring on the 25th, the 44 strike calls getting bought for about $1. You can see here, about 6,000 of these bought so far. Pretty aggressive buying. I like to see that. I had to jump in. I like that, and because I've been looking at the banks and which ones I really wanted to buy, Morgan Stanley would be one of those, so I bought those calls. I'm in those exact calls. I got one other real quick update for you.
Sure.
Because the other day, John was talking about DaVita. They were buying the January 67.5 calls. Today, they're buying the January 65 calls, about 6,000 of those. So pretty aggressive buying in here. This is a name that's been hovering around in these levels and actually pulled back as well. But they keep on buying, Scott. So I like what we're seeing here. I own that stock.
Sounds
Scott,
good. John, what do you got for us?
Take a look at FedEx. This is a stock that in the last month fell from $230 a share down to basically the 180s. Come on. You see that significant fall off there that Pete's showing you. Today they come scrambling in. They buy upside calls in here, Judge. So December, short term, because that's only 2 weeks out, really, less than that. December 195 calls. They sold a call above it. They did fairly large numbers in there, at least for FedEx, fairly large numbers. I participated with them. I think this thing could bounce in these final 2 weeks, basically. Quick update for you. Take a look at the move in Twilio, because on this program, October 25th, I believe, or something like that, Judge, we talked about it. Joe Terranova bought them with us. February 75 calls. Look at how this thing has run. Basically, from this is November 20th, but you see that these calls have gone from basically $12 to $28. When we cited them, I believe they were $4.50, Judge, back there at the end of October. So huge run in Twilio. It's gone from 68 to 100. Bang! That's why we trade.
Yeah, for sure. Let me get a comment from Joe.
All right.
As he's sitting with us, obviously.
Yeah, I think, Scott, it's important to look forward to 2019 and give consideration. Can the move in this stock that it's had since 2018 continue? And you're looking at a company that saw its revenue growth jump to 68% from 40% the year prior, but more importantly, its customer growth. So we're talking about CapEx and technology decelerating, but you're seeing the customer growth here increase nearly 35%, and that's indicative of the environment where you're seeing the enterprise space spend on software companies. And if I could, I bought Adobe today.
I'd like to talk about that.
I bought Adobe and I bought Palo Alto Networks because I don't think the CapEx cycle is dead. I just think it's easier for the enterprise space to lift in the software first.
You like to trade Palo Alto.
I do. I like to trade Palo Alto. I think the news that we got with the potential DOJ and the Chinese hacking, I think that's positive for Palo Alto. But again, I like anything software oriented.
Why don't you just own it? I mean, I say that just because you said, okay, I've owned this in the past.
Yeah,
I've sold it.
I've traded it.
I've been in. I'm out. Now I'm back.
It's one of the few things. It's one of the few things that I trade well. So I'll continue to trade it, and it's worked for me. And if there's something that I'll trade and it doesn't work well, like Apple many years ago, I'll just stop trading it and I'll try and own it.